welcome to a Twisted Battle Report. Sort of. This is going to be an experiment where I am trying to figure out how to play solo. In this particular instance, I'm going to be using an AI. We'll be playing on the sewer board that I set up and just finished building this morning. I will be trying to take Fagin, Ratcatcher, and Jacko, who are on the bottom right of the screen, all the way over to the top left where you see the shack here in the sewer at the pump house. So the sewer slime is going to be the primary opponent. They are going to be functioning off of an AI. Under each one of those is a grate where they will spawn again. So again, this is going to be a little bit of an experiment, and I'll be shooting the video a little bit differently, sort of a start-stop. I will pause the video and conduct the turns and then come back and sort of give you an after-turn, after-action report. That way we don't end up with a 6-hour video. Haven't posted anything in a while on YouTube. Been busy with CoastalCon 2020, which just happened, so that was a lot of fun. Check out the Facebook page. Throw a link in the description. And we are getting spooled up and getting all kinds of cool stuff done for Twisted. So, on that note, I am going to go down and conduct the first turn.
I hit one.
Alright, so the end of turn one saw Jacko and the lads, Jacko, Fagin, and Ratcatcher, moving up, crossing that little bridge at the bottom. Favor was in the Dickensians camp, and priority was with the sewer slime, so the AI. The way I determined that is just like you do in a two-player game. Rolled D20, and the high number had priority, low number had favor. So in this case, I had 3 and 3 on the board, so it was just a straight die roll. And the sewer slime, so the AI, won and got priority, so they moved first. Movement for them was determined simply by rolling a D10 for the random movement, and the point on the D10 is the direction that they moved. Now, any sewer slimes that had line of sight to the Dickensians immediately moved their full movement towards the Dickensians as they see them as a snack. Also, being that they are sewer slimes, they follow all the normal rules on the card. However, their movement, once they are in the sludge, in the sewers, for purposes of this scenario, is increased by 1. So their movement is going from a 3 to a 4 if they are in the sewer. The third one you can't see is behind the large blue tower tank thing on the left-hand side, and the other two have advanced. No combat has taken place yet, and we will see what happens in... Oh, the other thing, don't want to forget this. The other thing is I also rolled a d6 to see if any more sewer slimes spawned. The way that's going to work for this test scenario is turn 1, they would spawn on a 6. Turn 2, they will spawn on a 5 or 6. Turn 3, they will spawn, and so on and so forth until they're just going to start coming out as the oozing screams of their brothers call them to battle or lunch. The other thing I did was I rolled an additional d6 to see if any rat swarms appeared. That will only be on a 6 for the duration of the game, just because it adds another threat level. And after all, we are in the sewer. So on to turn 2. Okay, so end of round 2 saw the slime on the right advancing, slime in the middle also advancing, and the slime over there way on the left, he's just sort of bumbling around. He can't see anything yet, so he's just randomly moving amongst the sludge. Then we moved to the Dickensians, and Fagin moved up only once, trying to get in range for his gun. Didn't quite make it into range on the first move, and I didn't want to move him any closer because that slime is in the sludge and is going to be moving a little bit faster. So I held Fagin back just a little bit. Ratcatcher moved up behind him and into the sludge. Now, being as he is not a sewer slime, for this scenario, moving through the sludge is going to reduce his movement by 1. However, he did run, so it's not as if anybody's shooting at him. The sewer slime don't shoot, but so he is right there to back up Fagin, probably in turn 3, going to need to do that. Ideally, I'm going to try and avoid the sewer slimes, but that may not be possible. We'll see. Now, the far right with Jacko, what happened is I went ahead and took the risk and did the dual fire, hoping to really put some damage on the sewer slime. And sadly, I rolled awful and did not even hit the sewer slime. So instead of standing there on the corner waiting for him, I opted to move away so that I don't get engaged with the sewer slime. I'm not too worried about Fagin being engaged as he can get out of combat, but the other two are likely to go down. And playing to the narrative bent of the story, Fagin's not likely to leave the Urkin behind, whereas Bill would already be halfway across the board, not caring about those two. The other thing that I neglected to mention at the beginning is I am not using the activation decks, because in this instance with the AI, I'm activating the full AI, and then I'm activating the full Dickensian force. Now again, this is just an experiment. I will likely go back to individual activation, one model at a time. But again, just an experiment to see how it works so that I can play the game that I love all the time, even if nobody else wants to play. So, on to turn 3. Alright, so that's the end of turn 3, and for the astute observer, you will notice one of the sewer slimes is gone. We managed to clear out the one in the center canal. Ratcatcher went first. He moved out of the canal and up onto the walkway there and unloaded into the sewer slime, dealing 5 damage. And then Fagin shot, dealing 6 more damage, so bringing the damage total up to 11 on that one. Even though he wasn't dead, I opted to take the second action for Fagin and move up. I was willing to risk the attack on him because of his bow out ability and being able to step out of combat with no opposed check. So I figured I could just dash past if I had to after weathering a single attack. Jacko, since that other slime wasn't dead, he opted to run around the corner there to offer a little supporting fire. I did dual fire again, and I hit this time barely. And I did exactly enough damage to take out that sewer slime. Unfortunately, we had 2 more sewer slimes spawn in the very back sewer grates. You'll see the one on the right doesn't have anything on it, but we have 2 brown sewer slimes that have also spawned. No problem so far. We still got a pretty clear shot at getting there, but can't tell just yet what's going to happen in turn 4. You will notice too that I have not used the Eye of the Engine cards in this game, only because I wanted to hammer out the mechanics of the actual combat portion first. So the next time I do a solo game with the AI, I will be using the Eye of the Engine cards. Don't have a concrete methodology for how I'm going to do that yet, but I will be using them because to me they are a very, very significant part of the game. They kind of make Twisted what it is when you think about the engine's interaction with the game. So here we go on to turn 4, and let's see what happens turn 4. Alright, so turn 4 didn't see such good dice rolls for the Dickensians. Well, maybe they sort of did. So being that the slime no longer has priority as we have taken one of them out. So we've taken priority as the Dickensians. Unfortunately, we were still attacked by a slime, but the rolls were bad for the slime. Came up behind Jacko and attacked him, and like I said, unfortunately his rolls weren't too good, so he was unable to do anything to Jacko. Ratcatcher came rushing off of the bridge to try and help out Jacko, and his rolls unfortunately were terrible as well. When Jacko attacked, his rolls were also terrible. Narrative-wise, Fagin feels like he needs to help Jacko and Ratcatcher, but there's an objective that needs to be achieved in that shack. So he went taking off underneath the risen platform there, so you can't see him right now, but he is about where that red D6 is that is on turn 4 underneath, trying to avoid the slimes and get across to the shack in order to achieve the objective. Unfortunately, we did have another slime spawn, so we have another one to deal with. As we go into turn 5, what we're looking at right now is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sewer slimes on the board. Jacko and Ratcatcher are currently engaged with one. Fagin is doing his best to avoid them to try and make it to the shack. However, the Dickensians do have favor and priority. So let's see what happens in turn 5. All right, end of turn 5, going into turn 6. Fagin has made a break on the far right side of the board. I was crossing my fingers that a slime would not spawn at the sewer grate that's right in front of him. I got lucky. Nothing spawned. However, I did have one spawn in the center spawn point. Combat between Ratcatcher and Jacko and the slime went a little bit in my favor. Ratcatcher was able to do a pretty decent amount of wounds to the slime. Unfortunately, I missed the entangle roll on the opposed finesse check for Ratcatcher, which would have been really, really good because Jacko was unsuccessful. In fact, Jacko rolled just enough. He tied with the slime, and since currently we have favor of the engine with the Dickensians, I was able to take that tie. So that was fortunate in that regard. Other than that, it's just a break for the shack, and Fagin is doing his best to come out. Some of you may have noticed that I haven't used his ability to pull more Erkin in, and that's simply because of the scenario. This is it. This is the team that was sent down here. Fagin doesn't know why he was sent down here. He was just sent down to that shack for some reason. And of course, one of our lovely fellas in the Facebook group will probably come up with a great story as to why. Might be me, might be Adam, might be a bunch of different people. Anyway, here we go into turn 6. Okay, turn 6 was a tough one for the Dickensians. Once again, we had a completely unresolved combat with Ratcatcher, Jacko, and that slime down there on the bottom of the screen. Might need to think about getting them out of there to help Fagin. Fagin, making a rush up the side of the board, was jumped by one of the slimes. The other two didn't quite make it to him. I was hoping to be able to get farther up the board than I did. I was unable to. I was also hoping that I would fare a little better in close combat. However, a series of a couple of bad rolls ended up with Fagin taking some damage and also being poisoned by the sewer slime's venom. So for turn 7, he is going to count as being wounded, which is not going to be good for him trying to create a little bit of distance between himself and the 3 sewer slimes that are breathing down his neck. Unfortunately, even if Jacko and Ratcatcher elected to break away, it wouldn't happen. They'd never make it up the board far enough. So what I'm hoping to do is if they take Fagin out, hopefully I can take this sewer slime out and rush up the board. So my normal AI solo play, I usually do 10 turns just because of the way it develops. Going to do that with this one as well. So we will see what happens as we roll into turn number 7. All right, so it was a rough turn 8 for the Dickensians. Fagin tried his best to get away. He did manage to get a little bit away, but then got attacked by 2 of the sewer slimes. He was hit again, did manage to resist the venom this time, although I am also experimenting with using persistent condition rules. So he was already still under the effects of the venom, but he managed to shake that off. Unfortunately, when he got hit this time, he was entangled as well. So he will have to spend another action just to break the entangle. Fortunately, Ratcatcher and Jacko managed to off the last slime that was there. So they are about to make a beeline for the hut because we only have 2 turns left to get there. Frankly, they can't make it anyway, but with any luck, they can clear off a few of the slimes. So I don't think we're going to be successful in this one with only 2 turns left going in. Well, technically we have 3 turns as we're going into turn 8. But we shall see. Here we go, turn 8. Okay, this one was a quick turn. As we roll into turn 9, Ratcatcher and Jacko have made a dash up the center of the board, hoping to be able to make it. Don't think they have enough movement to do it anyway. Fagin is our last hope here. He weathered the storm, only took a couple of points of damage, was not entangled, was not envenomed. He's good to go. He can bow out on his next turn and make a beeline for the shack. We'll see what happens. Right now it's getting tense. In case you haven't noticed, I have stopped spawning sewer slimes because at this point the guys would have no chance if they were still spawning. So obviously scenario-wise that needs a little work, but the AI seems to be working quite well insofar as being able to play by myself. So far so good. We'll see what happens in turn 9. Well, turn 9 didn't see a whole lot of action either, except for a whole lot of running away. I opted not to use the bow out ability for Fagin. Instead, I opted to go ahead and make an opposed finesse check. With Fagin's high finesse, I figured it'd be easier and I could get a little bit more distance out of it without wasting the action on a bow out. So I went ahead and did the opposed finesse check, got out, no problem, ran as far as I could, but I don't think I have enough movement even to make it into turn 10 to make it to the shack. But we're going to resolve out the final round and see what happens, and probably write up some cool story about what this was actually all about instead of just pretending and playing an AI game. So as we roll into the final turn, currently Jacko and Ratcatcher are dashing up the board. Pretty much all of the slimes are converging on Fagin, and we have one more over there to the left of the board who has finally spotted prey, which is, of course, Jacko. So on to the final and 10th round. Well, turn 10 has come and gone. Fagin was one move away from achieving the objective. Managed to get almost up there. Fagin, however, is pretty badly wounded. He is 3 health points away from wounded state. And here in the last turn, Jacko was attacked by one of the sewer slimes and sustained 7 damage from the attack. The other slime attempted to get to Ratcatcher but was unsuccessful. So the other 3 are still chasing after Fagin, but Fagin has failed to achieve his objective, unfortunately. However, I'm going to call this game a success because I did like how the AI worked. This is a super basic beginning point for me operating AI so I can play my game more often. And essentially all I was doing is having spawn points and letting whatever my villain was, in this case the sewer slimes, spawn in those points, starting with 3 spawn points and auto spawning creatures for the beginning of the game. Again, didn't use the Eye of the Engine cards. I will next time. Could have been some beneficial stuff for there. Fagin may have been able to get something that would have moved him, which would have been nice to get him up there. However, I have to figure out what the best way to use the engine cards for the AI. And if you have any suggestions, drop them in the comments. And I'm always open for suggestions on how to do things. But overall, I would say it was a pretty good success. Probably the most essential part to running these AIs is going to be storyline. That's going to be the most important thing to have. You're going to have an objective, something that you need to achieve, and you're going to need to have some sort of generic common foe. Fortunately, in the world of Twisted, that could be in any number of different things. So I'm looking forward to doing some more, and it should be exciting. Be looking for Twisted at Southern Fried Gaming Convention in July in Atlanta, Georgia. We will be there with our first big official Twisted booth. We'll have demos running on 2 really cool tables. We'll also have lots of product for sale. It should be a lot of fun. And if you haven't, check out our Facebook group, which is the Twisted Minions of the Engine group. But you can also check out our CoastalCon group, which is our convention, our yearly convention that focuses on independent games such as Twisted. We do a lot of other games too, but Twisted is kind of our kind of our favorite one right now. So we've been doing a lot of push for that. So check that out. You can also check out Twisted has a Discord channel, and CoastalCon also has a Twitter and an Instagram. So you can check those out. I will drop the links in the description below. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or saw any rules that I got wrong, please post them up. I kind of like the format, managed to get a 10-round game down in about 20 minutes. So that was pretty good. And I look forward to seeing you guys at CoastalCon 2021. Have a good night.